out-of-area persons in any kind of real estate transaction can feel very vulnerable, and rightfully so. The skilled agent knows this and can diffuse their insecurities. Unfortunately, sometimes there's just no way to avoid the tension and negative results that follow. Joy and I once met with a family. We knew there was tension, so we decided it best to meet in a neutral place. Good thing we did. Halfway through our meeting, one of the family members started acting crazy. Clenched jaw, aggressive stance, body shaking crazy-like. I thought he was going to become violent, and so did everyone else, as we sat carefully still and quiet in the hope that things would calm down. Well, they didn't. But thank goodness, eventually Angry Brother left screaming at the top of his lungs, but no physical damage was done. So there we were, left with the rest of a very shaken family. One of them, very sheepishly, apologized and then asked Joy, Joy, you didn't by chance give him a copy of the paperwork, did you? It had my physical address on it, and I may need to put a restraining order on him. Joy was on top of it. No way, she said. Joy saw the writing on the wall. We think we all did. She held that paperwork from Angry Brother. Why? Because he had no right to it. He was not a party in this particular sale. Rather, he was simply a disgruntled brother with whom the others were just trying to make peace. Another agent may very well not have understood the workings of probate and trust sales, and may have handed him a copy of the paperwork. That would not have been good. As you can see, inherited property is not only a specialty when it comes to understanding the ins and outs of the logistics involved, but also in understanding the ins and outs of the emotions involved. Of course, almost every one of our inherited type transactions has an attorney, or sometimes multiple ones involved. If a real estate agent does not know how to speak with a lawyer, it can throw fuel on the fire. I typically keep the conversations short, and I always have notes in front of me, so I don't have to call them back because I forgot to ask them something. Understand, it could be costing clients every time I have to speak with or even email their lawyer. Yes, there are ways the qualified agent can help you make the transaction a smooth one, on many different levels. Inherited property scenario. An old client of mine called me and said, Dan, my mother and aunt inherited their mother's, my grandmother's, property. My mom, Kate, is going to handle the sale. Would you mind calling her to discuss some things? I replied, of course, I will call your mom, and thank you so much for referring her to me. I immediately contacted our local title company and had them send me over all the deeds recorded on the house. I did a quick preliminary review of them and was immediately concerned. The property was not in a trust, which meant there could be a probate involved here, and I was not sure how much Kate and her sister knew about probates. I was hoping perhaps they had some information, perhaps paperwork, or better yet, an attorney who could shed some light on their situation. Now, I knew where this house was, and I knew the neighborhood quite well, extremely high-end, hugely in demand. This property would sell fast and probably have multiple offers. I called Kate. She thanked me for contacting her, and I proceeded to set up an appointment for Joy to meet with her and her sister. I wanted to ask her some follow-up questions regarding the title, a trust, probate, whether she had an attorney or not, and so forth, but she sounded extremely rushed, and it was clearly obvious she needed to get off the phone as soon as possible. I already knew the mother had passed on, and that this was an inherited property. Therefore, I opted to just let Joy address all those questions at their appointment. I will let Joy take it from here. I arrived at the property well before our appointment. This is normal for me, because I like to get some groundwork done prior to meeting with the client. I saw that the property was in average condition. I was not sure how long ago their mom had passed, but the house looked relatively well kept. When I went to the door, both sisters answered and introduced themselves to me. Kate, who was the one evidently handling everything with regard to their late mother's estate, seemed a bit hurried and scattered, while her sister, Anne, was quite the opposite, very timid and subdued. After I went through the house, we all sat down, and I proceeded to tell them how sorry I was about their mom. Kate said, "Thank you. I appreciate that. The doctors say they are not sure how much longer she has to live, probably a few months." Huh? I thought. Their mother is alive? Although I was glad their mom had not passed, Dan told me her son said they'd inherited the property.